Hi everyone, Sid here, fully clothed, and I'm in the car. The reason I am recording this is because I am dangerously close to coming to 3 weeks without a video. I didn't check exactly how long it's been since the last shaving rant, and I just wanted to film this video quick before this story falls into the myriad of shiny object headlines that we're bombarded with in this modern day and age. So I wanted to talk to you. You've almost certainly heard of this cop at what's the name again? Spring Valley High School on Monday, who was seen dragging this girl, yanking her out of her chair and throwing her across the classroom. I shouldn't laugh. I'll get into what's making me chuckling in just a second. But there's been a lot of, the video went viral, rightfully so. And the reason that I'm talking about this is because, for one, this story sticks out like a sore thumb in the fact that this cop was actually fired, and he was fired less than a week after this incident happened, which is really bizarre. The typical story that we hear all too often when some cop loses his shit on video and does something that's clearly out of line to anyone with common sense is they typically get like a couple months paid vacation, and then whatever department investigates the issue ends up finding that the officer was operating within the parameters. But the other thing that I wanted to share, or that I wanted to talk about with regards to this video, first of all, when I saw it, and don't get me wrong, this is probably clear to those of you who watch my channel, I love hating on cops. I love hating on cops, especially so when they're acting in a law enforcement capacity. And for those of you who don't understand, I'm going to link under this to my video on the dual role of cops. I think it's a very important video on the subject. As a matter of fact, I have an entire playlist devoted to my rants related to cops, and this one's definitely going in it. But one thing that was glaringly clear to me, the first time I saw this video, the first thing out of my mind after, holy shit, what the fuck is this guy doing, was, gee, I wish I could have seen what happened before. And I'm basing myself mainly on a bit of internet research, but apparently the incident that got this cop in the classroom to begin with is that the girl in the chair was refusing to leave the classroom. Apparently she had a cell phone or something, and the teacher didn't like it, and he asked her to leave, and she said no. Now, the reason this is interesting to me is this is yet another example of how basically everything, I've made this point in another video, probably, basically everything the government touches turns into this tragedy of the commons problem. The reason I'm making this point is because, and I probably made this point in the same video, one of the most fundamental questions you could ask when you're facing an incident that you want to make sense of, when there's a lot of variables coming into play for whatever reason, is whose is it? And the bottom line is, this girl was asked to leave the classroom, and she refused. Now, in a clear-cut case of private ownership, if this was someone's personal room that she was asked to leave and refused to, she would be trespassing. However, and I didn't confirm this, I should have done so before leaving, but it's safe to assume that this is a private high school, that this is a public high school, and, if it's a public high school, that means that the state is the owner, and according to the common lie in a representative democracy, when we ask who's the owner, who's the government, well, the government is you. And that would mean that technically the classroom is also the girl's classroom. Presumably her parents pay taxes, or whoever her caretakers are, which would mean that this girl's caretakers are definitely part owners of this classroom, which kind of muddies the waters to really establish who's the initiator here, because even if this was a clear-cut case of trespassing, I think that the cops' actions were out of line. I don't think. But again, there's no footage of what happened before he started yanking her out of her chair. So maybe there was some verbal and maybe the verbal conversation that happened before that video started would kind of make some kind of sense. But somehow I doubt it. But I'm kind of open to the mathematical possibility. But that's one of the things that makes me regret that the video started at the point that it did. Where was I going with this? Basically, even if it was a clear-cut case of trespassing, I still think that it's a bit excessive to yank her out of her chair the way he did. However, depending on what happened, it may or may not be reasonable, in the sense that when someone is trespassing and is refusing to leave, in principle, the owner of that property has the right to use whatever force is reasonably necessary to get that person off his or her property. Again, with the tragedy of the Commons problem that happens, this is kind of a moot point, because the girl and her caretakers are part owners of that classroom. And the other thing that I find interesting, and I caught this headline, I didn't read the article, but apparently there was a peaceful protest where some students they walked out of their classroom in protest, basically asking to reinstate this police officer, which kind of brings up a point. I mean, again, maybe this girl was legitimately disturbing the classroom. Maybe the other students who were in the classroom were kind of wishing that she was not there. And it's the kind of thing that's, first of all, it's hard to say without solid video footage or reliable testimony, and maybe there is. I mean, I didn't really research this incident thoroughly before hitting the record button on this thing, but it's possible that the students were really annoyed with her, and maybe as annoyed or more annoyed than the teacher was, who asked her to put her cell phone away or whatever. And the other thing that I find interesting when I research, because from what I see, it's very rare that a cop actually ends up losing his job over an incident where he loses his shit on tape. And what I found interesting was that according to whatever dude was giving the speech, I'll link to the video I'm talking about below here, but he was fired because he bullied her the wrong way, basically, because and this kind of ties back to the point I was making of the reasonable force to get the person off your property, but according to what this guy was saying, there's some techniques that are used to travel up the force continuum, I guess, that are allowable as per the manual, but the cop didn't do that. So the funny thing is, and I don't mean ha-ha funny here, is that, holy shit, there's a bit of a logjam here. So yeah, the funny thing is that had this guy, I guess, used pressure points or put her in a cross-face chicken wing or whatever technique is in the manual, then he might still be employed today, which is telling. Let's put it that way. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say for the moment. So I am going to thank you for watching this video. Before I let you go, I just wanted to point out, quite frankly, the reason I haven't shot a video in the car yet is because personally I prefer listening to podcasts than recording video. However, I am aware that I'm significantly more presentable right now than I am in a wife beater with shaving cream all over my face. So if you want to see more videos from the car, please leave a comment below. And you know, as much as I prefer listening to podcasts, there's nothing like a good, strong market signal to make smart people change their tune. So thank you very much for watching. Please like and share, and feel free to leave any comments if there's something you want to know more about or feel that I've left unaddressed. Feel free to leave a comment, and I'll either respond or shoot a video or both. So you can find links to my Twitter and Tumblr and other relevant links that I've mentioned under this video here. And please like and share and subscribe to my YouTube channel. That would help me out a lot. So on that note, this is Sydney Rock signing out, and I'll see you soon. It might be from the bathroom, it might not be. The shaving rants aren't going to stop, but if you want to see more of me in clothes, let me know. So that's a wrap. Thanks.